Okay, guys, so consecutive integers. So integer, what is an integer? An integer is a whole number. So it is a whole number. So not a fraction. Cannot be a fraction. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't be a decimal. It has to be whole numbers just by itself. So 0 to 100 and gazillion billions. It can have all the zeros behind it, but it has to be a whole number as an integer. Consecutive means they're in a row, like back to back, consecutive days. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are not consecutive because one's missing. Consecutive numbers would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as long as they're in order and you're not skipping anything, that's consecutive. Now, this is fairly easy. These will be word problems, but you have to memorize this little table. Get it in your head. Then you are going to be able to boogie big time. So consecutive integers, you can pick any number. Let's do 5 first. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in terms of x, if we start with 5, that means that's going to be x, right? And then to get to 6, I took x, and then I added 1. And then to get to 7, I did x, and I added 2. And to get to 8 is x all the way down, and then we add 3, then we add 4, and we add 5. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 consecutive numbers in order. So every one, like if I only had 3, then I would just use these 2, right? Or these 3. If I needed 4 consecutive numbers, that would be 4. So keep that in mind. Now, it gets a little fuzzy because sometimes your word problems are going to say that they're either even or odd. So odd numbers are not divisible by 2. So you can't split them into 2 pairs. So it's 1, 3, 5, 7. So if I start with 1, consecutive would be 3 because 2 is divisible by 2. Then 4 is an even. So it'd be 5. 6 is an even. So it'd be 7. 8 is even. 9. And then 11 would be consecutive odd. And remember again, odd cannot be divided by 2. It will not give you an integer out if you divide by 2. So the first one is going to be x. And then with the 3, from 1 to 3, we added 2. And then from 1 to 5, we added 4. From 1 to 7, we added 6. And then we added 8. And then we added 10 to get to 11. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 is what we're adding. Even though, hear me out, even though it says we are solving for odd integers, right? We're still adding in terms of x. It's x, x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6, x plus 8, x plus 10. So again, you remember these tables are what you're going to need. This guy. And then this one is in bold because you're about to see that even for even integers, so odd versus even. So let's say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So if 2 is x, then I added 2 to get to 4. Then I added 4 to get to 6. I added 6 to get to 8. I added 8 to get from 2 to 10. And then I added 10 to get from 2 to 12. So these two are exactly the same. So whether it's even or odd, it doesn't matter. You're still using this collection of variables for both of them. So you really only need to memorize these two. So if we're just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, no specificity is whether it's odd or even. It's x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3. And you can't leave out your first x as well. And then if it's odd or even, then it's plus 2, plus 4, plus 6, plus 8, plus 10, depending on how many numbers you need. All right, so 3 consecutive integers. Some of you are going to be able to do this in your head for some of these. Trust me when I say don't do that, because you are going to run into some where you cannot. So the sooner you give in and start the pattern, then you learn the pattern, then you have no problem with any of them. And I can promise these will be on your EOC. Okay, so this is another one that if you figure out your pattern, should be in your pocket when you go to EOC day and know you're going to get this right. All right, so I have 3 consecutive integers. 3 consecutive integers. It did not say odd or even, so that means I'm going to use x, x plus 1, and x plus 2. Because whatever my x value is, the next one in line would be add 1 to it, and then add 2 would be the second guy after it, right? So that's 3 consecutive integers. Add to a sum, so they're going to equal a negative 96. So that means add to a sum. So that means I'm going to add those three numbers together. That number 1, number 2, 1, 2, 3 equals a negative 96. We're going to hold off to the question part because we need to find out what these numbers are. But the question is, what is the largest? So we're going to come back to that. So x plus 1, x plus 2 equals negative 96. This is where you want to be able to combine your like terms. So my x's, I have 1, 2, 3. So 3 x's. And then our constant, or our whole number, we have a 1 and we have a 2. So we can clean that up, and that's going to be 3 as well, equals a negative 96. And now you're just going to solve. So I need to get my 3x by itself. So I'm going to subtract 3 because this is it, my big great divide. I'm going to minus 3 from both sides. And that gives me 3x equals a negative 99. Divide by 3, just like when we were solving regular equations. And x is going to equal a negative 33. Now, we have 3 consecutive integers. So in this case, it says what is the largest. But it's good to practice to know what the 3 are. So our first one is negative 33. That's our x value. That's this guy right here. Then if I add 1 to that, so negative 33 plus 1 is going to be a negative 32, right? And then negative 33 plus 2, because that's my third integer, is going to be a negative 31. So be careful, it's not 34 or 35 because we're adding to a negative number, so the number itself gets smaller. It's actually larger because it's closest to 0. So which one is closest to 0? Which is the largest? The largest is going to be that negative 31 because it's closest to 0. You'd rather owe 31 than owe 33. It's a better deal. All right, number 2, the sum of 3 consecutive integers. So same thing, 3 consecutive. So I now have x plus 1, x plus 2 is, and it says the sum, so it's going to equal 123. Again, you're going to add these 3 numbers together because it says sum. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to combine like terms again. So I have 3 x's, 1, 2, 3. So I end up with 3 x's. And then our 1 and our 2 is going to give us 3 again. So 123. You're going to solve that equation. So we're going to subtract 3 because we're trying to get 3x by itself. So we're going to subtract 3, subtract 3. So 3x equals 120. 3 times x. So we're going to divide by 3 on both sides. So x equals 40. Now, we have 3 of them. So I have x equals 40, and then x plus 1 is going to equal 40 plus 1, so that's going to be 41. And then x plus 2 will give you 42. So 40, 41, 42. So they are consecutive. It did not call out an even and odd, so we're perfect. What is the smallest of the 3? 40, 41, or 42? The smallest of the 3 is going to be 40. All right, last but not least for this video, 2 consecutive, oh boy, odd integers. So we have 2 of them, but it's odd. And that's not x plus 1, x plus 2. That's going to be x, that's the first one, and then x plus 2, because we have to skip that even number in the middle, right? And their sum is going to equal to 40, so plus 40. And again, combine your like terms and clean up on this each side. So x and x is going to give me 2x plus 2 equals 40. I need my 2x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. And that's going to give me 2x equals 38. And I'm going to divide by 2. So that's x equals 19. Yep, x equals 19. So that's our first one. The question asks, what are the 2 numbers? So if I have x plus 19, x equals 19, which is an odd number, so that's good. And then the next one is x plus 2. So that's 19 plus 2 is going to give me 21. Both of those are indeed odd, and they are consecutive, 19 and 21. So you did that guy right. All right, guys. Hope that made some sense and you got all that down. See you next video.